Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We go back this hour to March 11th, 1945, an episode of the syndicated program, The Weird Circle. Interestingly, this show aired both on Mutual and later on NBC. This show, and this particular episode, was broadcast on March 11th, 1945, and it's entitled The Moonstone.
The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out the past stories strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle. Phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, the Moonstone.
"1,000 years ago, in the holy city of Somnath in Mother India, there stood a temple of gold. And in this temple, sitting in somber judgment on his cringing worshippers, was he whom they called the Moon God. And deeply embedded in his golden forehead, there stood a great yellow diamond, fabulous beyond all price. And from it came the evil light of the moon, waxing bright when the moon was full, and waning pale when the moon grew dim. This was the holy treasure of ageless India. This they called the Moonstone. And it came to pass that the great god Vishnu, the preserver, came upon the wings of a monsoon wind, and appeared to the 3 high priests of the temple, and said to them,
I, Vishnu, have breathed the breath of divinity into the Moonstone. Ye 3 shall watch it. And after you 3 other Brahmin priests, and after you 3 others, till the end of time. And he who lays hands upon this sacred gem, and thus defiles it, shall come to evil and disaster, and those of his house and name who follow him. This shall be my curse. I, Vishnu, have spoken.
I, Gabriel Betteridge, house steward in the service of Julia, Lady Verinder, have heard the legendary tale of the Moonstone. Once I thought it fanciful nonsense, a tale spun of opium mists and hashish dreams from Bombay to Singapore. Yet today I have reason to believe, good reason to believe, for here in quiet rural Yorkshire, far from the heathen temples of India, I have seen the Moonstone and known its evil heritage. This is the tale I would tell you. It begins in Somnath, India, in the year 1799. The English army was lined up before the ramparts of the city, preparing for a final assault. The night before, a group of officers toasted the coming attack. Among them, Sir John Herncastle, the profligate cousin of my Lady Julia and uncle of Miss Rachel Verinder.
Another drink, Sir John?
Aye, Fairman, fill the cup to the brim with wine.
Shall we drink to victory, then?
No, let's drink to home this time. Home? Who the devil wants to go home? There's no one waiting for me there anyway.
But, Sir John, you have a cousin in Yorkshire.
Lady Julia Verinder? A pox on the hag. She wouldn't even receive me. Seems that the smell of a gentleman adventurer is too much for her nostrils.
She turned you away, then?
Aye, called me wastrel and profligate. But I'll be revenged on my dear cousin. I'll be revenged, mark you. Come, gentlemen, lift your cups to victory. Aye, and to the Moonstone, the greatest prize of India.
All this was related to me by a cousin of this infamous adventurer. Through the flame and desolation, Sir John Herncastle, bloody sword in hand, raced for the temple, rushed into the inner chamber. There stood the moon god, with the glittering gem in its forehead, beckoning him on.
The Moonstone, it's mine. Mine at last. And if the filthy curse goes with it, then I'll take that too.
Less than a year later, they found Sir John lying in a pool of blood outside a tiny inn in Rangpur in Bengal province. His throat had been slashed with 3 deep gashes. 3, mind you, although 1 would have been more than enough to do the trick. As to the Moonstone, it had disappeared. And then it was that young Franklin Blake, a cousin of Sir John, came to our house in Yorkshire and sought an immediate audience with Rachel Verinder, daughter of my Lady Julia.
It's been a long time, Rachel.
Yes, Franklin, it has. Why haven't you been down to see me?
Oh, legal business and the pressure of work. You missed me then, Rachel?
You want a confession?
Well, as a barrister, I should like nothing better.
Very well, then. I throw myself upon the mercy of the court and confess. I did miss you, Franklin. Truly.
You're very lovely, Rachel.
And you're very kind.
Am I? I wonder.
Of course you'll stay the weekend. It's my birthday today, you know. Mother's giving me a party tonight, and the house is full of interesting people right now. Godfrey Ablewhite, the man about town and the talk of London. He's incredibly handsome, you know. And then there's Mr. Murthwaite, the famous Indian traveler.
Rachel, my dear, I have a confession to make. I came up to Yorkshire here to see you, because I wanted to. But I also came up on a matter of business. Your business.
Franklin, what on earth are you talking about?
You've heard of Sir John Herncastle, haven't you?
Why, yes, he's Mother's cousin. They hated each other.
Yes, I know. That's what makes this whole matter so strange. You see, Rachel, Sir John left you a legacy.
Ah, a legacy?
Yes, he appointed me executor on this matter. Sent the legacy with instructions to hold it in a vault and give it to you on your next birthday. As a matter of fact, I have it here in my pocket right now.
Well, what is it, Franklin? Oh, I just can't wait to see.
Well, it's in this box. Open it and see for yourself.
What? Oh, but it's beautiful. Exquisite.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
A yellow diamond as big as a pigeon's egg. And that strange light coming from it.
Yes, like the light of the moon.
Yes. Yes, that's it. Why, it must be worth a fortune.
Yes, I'd say about 20,000 pounds.
Look, Franklin, I don't understand. Why would Sir John give me this precious gift? Well, I should think I'd be the last person.
I think I know.
Well, then tell me.
Rachel, they call this diamond the Moonstone. It has an unsavory history. This is Sir John's macabre way of revenging himself. Because when he gave you this Moonstone, he gave you the evil curse that goes with it.
Rachel Verinder was not the kind of woman to fear any vague Oriental legend. The Moonstone fascinated her, made her almost drunk with delight. At her birthday party that night, she wore it at the neck of her gown.
A toast to the Queen, gentlemen. Let us drink the health of Mistress Verinder. Ah, but what a vision. She wears a jewel at her throat, but beautiful as it is, its beauty is hard. It flashes without warmth against a greater jewel, she who wears it.
A very pretty speech, Godfrey. No wonder you have all the ladies of London at your feet.
Oh, that was yesterday when I came to Yorkshire. That was a different Godfrey Ablewhite you knew. Tonight, dear Rachel, I grovel in the dust at your feet.
Godfrey, you'll have me jealous of my own daughter. Oh, if I were 20 years younger.
You pine without reason, Julia. The daughter has inherited the beauty of the mother. What do you say, Murthwaite? Is there such beauty in any part of India?
No, not anywhere else in the Orient.
What say you, Franklin? You've been strangely silent.
I've been thinking of the Moonstone.
What did you say, man?
The Moonstone that Miss Verinder wears at her neck.
Why, Mr. Murthwaite, what's wrong? Are you ill?
No, milady. It's just had a bit of a shock. Mr. Blake, do you mean to say that's the original Moonstone from India?
Yes, I do. It was left in legacy by Sir John Herncastle.
Then I suggest that Miss Verinder dispose of it at once.
Certainly not. You're referring to that silly legend about the curse.
Brave girl, Rachel. Of course, the whole thing's utter nonsense. This is Yorkshire, not India.
Rachel.
Yes, Franklin.
Why don't you let me hold the Moonstone and trust for you? Let me put it in a safe vault.
Oh, fiddlesticks. You're all acting like a pack of frightened old women. Of course I shall keep it right here with me.
I must say I misjudged Sir John terribly. I made no bones of my dislike for him, yet he responded with this magnificent gift.
He had an evil purpose, milady.
Oh, stuff and nonsense, Blake. You're too intelligent a chap to go for this Oriental mumbo-jumbo.
I wouldn't take it so lightly, Mr. Ablewhite.
Rachel, I beg of you, let me be the custodian of that gem.
Aren't you being rather persistent, Blake?
Now, look here, Ablewhite. I'll thank you to stay out of something that doesn't concern you.
Gentlemen, please.
Mother's right. I'll have no quarreling at my birthday party. What's that?
Strange. It is a very familiar sound, but it's almost unbelievable. Here in Yorkshire.
I must say I've never heard anything like it. Sounds like some sort of gibberish, like drums beating.
I'll just have a look through the window. Why? But it's incredible.
What's incredible, Murthwaite?
Well, this is England, I know, yet out on that road there are 3 Indian jugglers. They're stopping here at this house.
3 Indian jugglers here?
Yes, they're using their drum gourds to advertise their performance.
Let's have them in for a performance, eh, Rachel? Be a capital idea.
Of course, Godfrey, I'd love to. What do you say, Mother?
Oh, why not? Frankly, I've never seen an Indian, let alone Indian jugglers. Strange that they should be in Yorkshire, of all places, though.
I wonder if it's so strange.
I stood by the sideboard and watched the strange performance. It held me spellbound, as it did the people round the table. Was it my imagination, or did they actually fix their brilliant eyes during the whole performance on the yellow stone at Miss Verinder's throat? The minute the 3 performers left the premises, Mr. Murthwaite asked the ladies if he might speak privately to all the gentlemen on an urgent matter. They assented, and we gathered in the library.
Now then, Murthwaite, what's this urgent matter you spoke of? I'll warrant you've alarmed the ladies.
I'll come to it, Ablewhite, soon enough. It's about those 3 Indian jugglers.
Yes, what about them?
Just this, Blake. I've seen enough Oriental juggling to know that those fellows are amateurs. What you saw tonight was a very bad and clumsy imitation of the real thing.
You mean that these dark Johnnies are imposters?
Exactly, Ablewhite. Unless after long experience I'm sadly mistaken, those 3 Hindus are high-caste Brahmins.
Then they must be out to the Moonstone.
No doubt about it in my mind. Mr. Blake, you carried that gem from London here, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Then I must congratulate you. You're very lucky to be alive.
Oh, come now, isn't this a bit thick?
Not at all, Ablewhite. You can take my word for it. Blake here has had a narrow escape. These men are devils. They have the patience of cats and the ferocity of tigers.
Oh, it's hard to think that even these beggars would take a human life.
Mr. Ablewhite, do you smoke?
Huh?
I say, do you smoke?
Oh, yes, of course, a pipe. What the devil's that got to do with it?
Do you value the ashes left in your pipe after you've emptied it?
No.
In the country those men came from, they care just as much about killing a man as you care about emptying the ashes out of your pipe. The theft of the Moonstone represents a sacrifice of caste, a serious thing in India. The sacrifice of life is nothing at all.
Good Lord. We better warn Rachel, Miss Verinder, at once. Those devils know who has the Moonstone now.
I bolted all the doors and securely locked the windows. Then I retired. The next morning I woke and had just finished dressing when I heard a commotion on the second floor. I raced upstairs, and on the landing, Mr. Blake, Mr. Murphy...
What happened? Aunt Julia, what happened?
The diamond. What? It's gone, Franklin. It's been stolen.
Are you sure, my lady?
Yes, I saw Rachel put it in this cabinet drawer last night. Now it's empty. You can see for yourself.
Julia, where's Rachel? Is she all right? Rachel?
Please go away, all of you. The Moonstone's been stolen, and there's nothing any of us can do.
Rachel, for heaven's sakes, what happened? Are you all right? Did you see anything or hear anything?
Go away, all of you. Do you hear? Go away. I don't want to talk about it. I never want to hear of that diamond again.
From March 11th, 1945, The Weird Circle on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of The Weird Circle, The Moonstone, March 11th, 1945.
All of us were struck with Rachel Verinder's strange attitude. She locked herself in her room, and we put it down to some kind of feminine reaction at the loss of so precious a possession. Franklin Blake immediately sent for the authorities, and in a short time, Sergeant Cuff of the Detective Police arrived. Immediately he summoned us all to the main hall, and...
Now then, none of you saw anything or heard anything?
Not a thing.
I certainly didn't. What about you, Miss Verinder? The diamond was stolen from the small sitting room adjoining your bedroom.
I don't care to talk about it.
Miss Verinder, I'm afraid you'll have to.
Look here, Sergeant. Can't you question my daughter a little later? She's had a terrible shock. You can see that.
Oh, very well, my lady. You may go to your room if you wish, Miss Verinder.
Thank you.
Now then, did anyone hear any noise during the night?
No.
You seem pretty positive, Mr. Murthwaite.
I am. I didn't sleep a wink last night thinking of that blasted Moonstone and the curse that goes with it.
I don't take any stock in these Oriental stories, Mr. Murthwaite.
Perhaps you don't, Sergeant Cuff. But I can assure you that the stone will bring trouble wherever it goes. Look what it's done to this household already.
Yes, look what it's done to Rachel. She isn't the same anymore. She's so changed.
I think it's very simple, Sergeant Cuff. Just find out where those Indian blighters are and apprehend them.
No need for that, Mr. Ablewhite. I know where those Indian jugglers are.
You do? Where?
Yeah. They're locked up in the village jail and were there all night. Local constable arrested them on suspicion when they returned from this house yesterday.
Well, then they couldn't have stolen the Moonstone if they were in jail.
Precisely, Mr. Blake. They couldn't. They have a perfect alibi.
And the steward here, Gabriel, says he locked every window and door besides.
Precisely. The thief is someone in this house. Perhaps in this very room.
For 3 days, Sergeant Cuff grilled all the servants and guests, but came up against a blank wall. Meanwhile, the 3 Indians were released from confinement and promptly disappeared. Finally, Sergeant Cuff went back to London, accompanied by Franklin Blake, who had urgent legal business to resolve. Months passed, and Rachel Verinder drew more and more within herself. She spent days in her room and would receive no one. Lady Julia did everything to bring back her daughter's once sunny disposition, but it was no use. It was obvious to me that such a radical change in Miss Rachel could not come about through mere grief at the loss of the Moonstone. It was as though she had been affected by some kind of slow-working curse. And then, one day, a visitor came to the house.
Rachel?
What is it, Mother?
You have a visitor.
I'll see no one.
Dear, it's Franklin Blake. He's come all the way from London.
Franklin? Here?
Yes.
Very well, Mother, I'll receive him.
March 11th, 1945, The Weird Circle and the Moonstone on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these important words from your favorite radio station. You know, I've told y'all how much my feet hurt from time to time, and I've also told you how much I enjoy getting to work, because right here under my desk I have a pair of my slippers, Mike Lindell's new invention with patented fill, the My Pillow fill that, he works in the pillow so well, comfort memory foam, patented impact gel, and it has an indoor-outdoor sole for all-day use. Right now, they are on sale. If you go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square, you will see My Pillow slippers at 50% off, but only for a limited time. Plus, you'll get Mike's softcover book, What Are the Odds? From Crack Addict to CEO. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square, use my promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175. Use my promo code USA. Savings on overstock items too at mypillow.com. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of The Weird Circle, The Moonstone, as it was broadcast March 11th, 1945.
Come in, Franklin.
Thank you.
Please don't stay too long. Rachel hasn't been well. I'll leave you two.
Rachel,
Hello, Franklin.
why haven't you answered my letters? I sent you 5 or 6.
Don't you know?
No, I don't. Something's happened to you, Rachel. You've changed. Your feeling for me was warm before the night the Moonstone disappeared. Now you've grown cold and distant, even hostile.
I have no feeling for thieves, but contempt.
What do you mean?
I saw you steal the Moonstone.
What?
Yes. I heard a noise in my sitting room that night. I opened the bedroom door just a little and peered through. I saw you rifling the cabinet drawer where the Moonstone lay. There could be no mistake.
Rachel,
I could have exposed you to the police, Franklin, but... Well, I loved you once. If you were willing to throw away that love for the Moonstone, that was your sordid affair. I decided to let you have your evil bargain.
Rachel, I didn't take the Moonstone, I swear.
You were there, Franklin. I saw it. Are you going to deny it?
No. No, I'll not deny it. I was there. I wanted to take the diamond and hold it for you, to direct the danger towards me, to keep you safe. But the diamond was gone. Someone had been there ahead of me.
A likely story.
Then you don't believe me?
No. You're only trying to brazen your way out of it.
Rachel, you must believe me.
Please go, Franklin. Please go at once.
Franklin Blake went straight to Sergeant Cuff in London and told him everything. But Sergeant Cuff, like a hound in the chase, was on a new scent. A certain notorious moneylender and jewel fence, one Septimus Luker, was the key. Sergeant Cuff reasoned that Luker was the only man big enough to handle a gem the size and the price of the Moonstone, and kept his place under constant watch. Then one night he went down to see Luker and took Franklin Blake with him.
Well, it's certainly not a very nice section of London, Sergeant, especially at night.
These narrow alleyways have sheltered many a cutthroat. There's Luker's establishment across the street.
Oh, yes. The shade's drawn, but there's a little light filtering in at the bottom of the blinds.
Oh, our friend Septimus Luker's in, all right. He transacts his important business at night. By that I mean his thievery.
Sergeant, what interest would Luker have in the Moonstone?
Oh, merely to hold it in a vault in safekeeping until the thief who took it thought the detective police had lost interest.
Oh, I see. As a sort of pledge, hmm?
Yes, you see, Blake, the thief would pay Septimus Luker a large commission for holding the gem in a scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Then at his leisure he could transport the Moonstone to Amsterdam. There have it cut up into smaller diamonds.
Oh, yes.
Come on, Blake, let's cross the street and go in. A few questions I'd like to ask. Oh, wait. Someone's coming.
Yes. A man on horseback. Sergeant. Why, it's Godfrey Ablewhite. He's stopping in front of Luker's place.
Blake, get back in this doorway, quick.
He's gone in. So, it was Godfrey Ablewhite who took the Moonstone from Rachel's cabinet.
No doubt about it. Makes proper sense, too. Everybody in London knows that Ablewhite is desperately in debt. Gambled a fortune away and now can't meet his creditors. Come on, let's go in.
Ablewhite. Ablewhite, look.
Look there. On the floor.
Septimus Luker. Dead.
Yes. With 3 slashes in his throat. The curse of Vishnu.
There is little more to this tale. The back window to Luker's establishment was wide open, and an empty jewel box lay on the counter. This is the story of the Moonstone. Call the legend fancy if you like. I call it a fact. For on the very day that Franklin Blake and Rachel Verinder were married, a dispatch from India noted that the Moonstone had mysteriously and in the night been restored to the forehead of the moon god in the ancient temple at Somnath. And as far as I know, it rests there to this day.
I, Vishnu, have breathed the breath of divinity into the Moonstone. Ye 3 shall watch it, and after you 3 other Brahmin priests, and after you 3 others, till the end of time. And he who lays hands upon this sacred gem, and thus defiles it, shall come to evil and disaster, and those of his house and name who follow him. This shall be my curse. I, Vishnu, have spoken.
Wow. March 11th, 1945, The Weird Circle. Couple of notes. We mentioned that this show was ran on Mutual and on NBC, but it was actually produced by Ziff, the people who not only produced lots of radio programs, but television programs for syndication. And the fact that it was licensed both by Mutual and NBC showed that the show had lots of promise. Unfortunately, it only ran for 2 seasons. March 11th, 1945, The Weird Circle on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, another syndicated series that eventually became national. From 1938 until 1940, Captain Midnight was heard over a regional syndication network, including Chicago's WGN. In 1940, Ovaltine picked up sponsorship of the program when it was heard nationally over Mutual Broadcasting, where it remained until 1942. Then NBC picked up the show, and it ran for a period of time on NBC, then back to Mutual, where it remained until 1949. And this episode of Captain Midnight was originally broadcast March 11th, 1940.
The Skelly Oil Company presents Captain Midnight. Captain Midnight, brought to you 3 times each week by the Skelly Oil Company, Skelly Jobbers and Dealers. And now to Captain Midnight. You'll remember that in the last adventure, Ivan Shark promised Chuck Ramsey that the young pilot would have an opportunity to say something to Captain Midnight over the radio to prove that he actually was in Shark's power. It is now early in the morning, just after Chuck has had his talk with Ivan Shark. The servant, Fang, has ushered Chuck to the room where he and young Crane have been kept behind locked doors. Listen.
Oh, gosh, Chuck, you're back quick. What happened?
It's true, Frank, it's true. I'm really going to talk to Captain Midnight tonight.
Hey, honestly, Chuck? Do you actually mean it?
Absolutely, Frank. Ivan Shark just promised me that I would.
Oh, but gosh, Chuck, from what you told me of Ivan Shark, how can you trust him? You thought he was going to let you talk to Captain Midnight last night, but he didn't.
Oh, gee, Frank, you're right. Maybe he'll go back in his word. But no, he won't. He can't.
Why not?
Well, don't you see, Frank? Ivan Shark wouldn't let me talk to Captain Midnight if there was any other way for him to get what he wants. There isn't, don't you see?
Oh, gosh, Chuck, I guess you're right. He's got to let you talk to Captain Midnight.
It's just as we thought. I know that from what Ivan Shark said. Captain Midnight told him that he'd have to hear my voice so that he'd know that I'm in Ivan Shark's hands.
Well, the next thing is, what are you going to say to him?
That's the thing that's got me stuck, Frank. I've seen enough of this place to know that there are certain things which Captain Midnight must know in order to find us. And we've got to figure out how to tell him.
Oh, it's still early in the morning, Chuck. We got more than 12 hours to figure it out. But, well, to tell you the truth, I just don't see how it can be done.
It does seem impossible. But I've got an idea.
Oh, that's swell. How long do you think Ivan Shark will let you talk to Captain Midnight? If all he's going to do is let Captain Midnight hear your voice, well, then he may only let you say a couple or 3 words.
Then we're sunk, Frank. I got to say a lot more than that to get any kind of a secret message through to him.
Well, how many words do you think Shark will let you say?
I don't know. But I'm not going to ask him. I'm going to say as much as I can before he shuts me off. I ought to get in at least 50 words.
Oh, that's an awful lot, Chuck. I don't think Shark will let you say that much.
Well, I don't know. You can say 50 words in a pretty short time.
Well, you can't try to say them too fast, because then Captain Midnight might not hear them all.
And that, Frank, is terribly important. Captain Midnight has got to get every word. If he should miss even one, it would ruin the whole thing. And something else, too. If I try to talk too fast, Ivan Shark would get suspicious. He'd suspect that I had some particular reason for talking so fast.
Yeah, Chuck, I guess you're right. Hey, but tell me, What did you mean by saying that if Captain Midnight didn't get every word, it'd ruin the whole thing?
Captain Midnight once told me about a method which is sometimes used to convey secret messages in a seemingly innocent letter.
Oh, tell me about it, Chuck. How in the world are you going to do it? Do you really believe there's any chance?
Yes, Frank, I think there is. But it means a terrific amount of work.
Well, I just can't see how you're going to do it.
You remember I told you about this good luck coin I have in my pocket?
Oh, you mean the one with the three-bladed propeller?
Yes. And you remember what... Well, here it is. I told you about that word Kobrelhofer.
Oh, sure, Chuck. I'm looking at it right now.
In order for two people to send a secret message to each other in a letter or some other communication, they usually use a word or a phrase that's known to each other very well.
Oh, sure, Chuck. I see.
So in this case, I'm going to try to use the word Kobrelhofer because it's so well known to both Captain Midnight and myself.
But I sure don't see
It's like this, Frank. We got to use the letters of the word Kobrelhofer as the means of sending a message.
Oh, you mean each one of the letters in the word Kobrelhofer is the first letter of a new word in a secret message?
That's exactly what I mean, Frank. Now, for example, here are some of the words that we've got to get across to Captain Midnight. And we've only got a little over 12 hours, so we've got to get busy. Now then, here's the most important...
And now, our scene changes. It's shortly after 11 o'clock that night on Ridgeville Airport. Captain Midnight's new Spartan cabin plane is standing in front of the Southwest Airlines hangar, ready for a takeoff. Steve and Patsy Donovan are seated in the cabin, waiting for Captain Midnight. Let's listen as Steve says.
Now, Patsy, Captain Midnight thinks there's a chance Chuck may try to broadcast some kind of a secret message to us. So you've got to be sure to write down every single word that Chuck says.
Oh, gosh, Steve, wouldn't that be wonderful if he could? And don't worry, I won't miss a thing.
Well, anyway, if Chuck can, you can see how important it is to get every word he says.
Gosh, I'll do my best, Steve. But I still don't see how Chuck could send a secret message to us with Ivan Shark standing right beside him.
Well, it does seem impossible, but then Captain Midnight says it's been done before.
But Chuck hasn't had any experience doing anything like that.
Well, that's what I told Captain Midnight. But he says that he once told Chuck of a method that spies sometimes use in sending messages and letters.
Gee, you mean by invisible writing? Like Chuck's father did on that map?
No, Patsy, nothing like that. Because letters are often examined in an infrared machine. Any kind of invisible writing would show up at once.
Oh, but how in the world do they send a secret message then?
Well, there's nothing hidden at all. It's just as if you were to write a letter to me, and the letter seems to mean one thing, whereas actually there is a secret message using the same words that appear to be innocent.
Loop and loops, what do you know about that?
Well, Captain Midnight says it's done usually by using certain regularly spaced words in the message.
You mean like a crossword puzzle?
No, Patsy, not like that. You count from the first word in the message, and maybe it'll be the fifth word. Then you count through, and every fifth word is the word in the secret message.
Jiminy crickets, I never heard of anything like that.
Well, it doesn't have to be every fifth word. Sometimes it's the 6th or 7th or 10th, or maybe even the 15th.
Why, sure, I begin to see now. You just take those certain words out of the letter, and there you have your secret message.
That's the idea.
Oh, here comes Captain Midnight now.
Well, we're almost ready to take off. Is the ship full of gas, Steve?
Every tank is full, Captain Midnight. The oil is okay, and I checked everything else, too.
That's fine. Let me see what time it is.
It's 10 minutes after 11, Captain Midnight.
So I see. Now, we'll take off in a couple of minutes. I want to climb up to 10,000 feet before we start talking to Ivan Shark.
Are the two listening posts all set?
Yes. I got telegrams from them while I was talking to Pinky Drake and Slim Pool.
Oh, say, did you ask Pinky and Slim about that country there up in Canada?
Yes, Steve, I did. And it seems that Pinky once prospected up in that country. He and another fellow are up near the headwaters of the Peace River.
Gee, that's swell. Then you're going to take them along with us when we go up there?
That's the idea, Patsy.
Well, when do we leave?
Well, we may leave immediately after our conversation with Ivan Shark tonight. Now, if we do, we'll land, gas up, pick up Pinky and Slim, and be on our way. But it all depends on what happens during the next hour.
We'll have to find out here from the listening post before we leave, won't we?
Yes, we will. It's very important. I've arranged with the telegraph company to get the messages from the listening post through as quickly as they can. We'll no doubt receive them soon after we get back on the ground.
Do you think Ivan Shark will talk from the same position tonight that he did last night?
Well, I can't tell about that, Patsy. Shark is very clever. He knows we're triangulating his position, and he's going to do everything in his power to fool us.
Well, he might send his message from the same place tonight just to make us think that that's where he is.
It's using your head, Steve. Ivan Shark may do just that. But there's no use speculating about it now. We've got to be in the air. I'll start the engine. We'll take off.
How about it, Captain Midnight? The needle says 10,000 feet.
Good. We're high enough now, Steve. I'm going to level off.
There, that's a lot better. The less noise the engine makes, the easier it'll be to hear Chuck.
All right, now then, Steve. You take the controls. I want to give all my attention to this radio conversation.
Okay. Which way will I head?
Now listen, just keep cruising in a wide circle over the airport. As soon as we're through talking, I want to be able to get on the ground without wasting any time.
All right, you are.
And the more you can throttle the engine without losing altitude, the better it'll be for us.
Okay. I'll throttle her down as far as I can.
Right.
Gosh, Steve, that's swell. If you don't have to run the engine any faster than that, we should be able to hear Ivan Shark and Chuck as clearly as if we were on a telephone.
No, we're holding our altitude all right. I don't think we'll have any trouble.
All right, now then, Patsy. Are you all ready?
Yes, I am, Captain Midnight. I've got my pad here and 2 extra pencils in case I break a point.
All right, that's fine. And I want you to miss a single word, Patsy, particularly when Chuck begins to talk.
I'll try not to miss a word, Captain Midnight, because Steve says you think there's a chance Chuck may try to send us a secret message.
Well, it's a faint hope, Patsy. It all depends on Chuck's circumstances, whether he's been able to see anything and so forth.
And there's another thing, too.
Yeah?
If Chuck has to speak to us without knowing beforehand that he's going to, it's going to make it awfully tough.
It's a possibility, Steve. And if that proves to be true, there won't be any chance for a secret message. All right, now. Better be getting ready here.
Well, according to the clock in the instrument panel, we've only got a half a minute to go.
That's what my watch says, too.
Well, now, wait a minute. Let's take a last look around and see that we haven't forgotten anything.
I'm all ready.
So am I.
Okay. All right, now. According to the second hand, it's almost 12. All right, here goes.
Captain Midnight, calling Ivan Shark. Captain Midnight, calling Ivan Shark. Go ahead.
Ivan Shark answering Captain Midnight. Go ahead.
I'm waiting to hear Chuck Ramsey's voice. Go ahead.
But first, Captain Midnight, I have a proposition to make. Chuck Ramsey and his friend Frank Crane will be returned to you safely if you give me your word of honor to leave me alone in the future. Do you agree? Go ahead.
I won't talk to you, Ivan Shark, until I've heard Chuck Ramsey's voice. Go ahead.
Very good, Captain Midnight. You shall hear Chuck Ramsey's voice. You will step here, Ramsey, and try to persuade Captain Midnight that he had better do as I ask. You may say a few words to him, but only a very few.
Chuck Ramsey's voice is about to be heard by Captain Midnight, Steve, and Patsy. But what will he say? Chuck and Frank Crane have had over 12 hours to work out some kind of a secret message to send to Captain Midnight. Have they succeeded? You must not miss Chuck's speech in the next exciting adventure of Captain Midnight. And don't forget to tune in again Wednesday, same time, same station, for further transcribed adventures of Captain Midnight. Brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday by the Skelly Oil Company, Skelly Jobbers and Dealers. Will Chuck Ramsey be able to send a secret message to Captain Midnight? Or will Ivan Shark notice the trick and stop Chuck from speaking? Be sure to listen Wednesday. Until then, this is Don Gordon, your Skelly man, saying goodbye and happy landing!
March 11th, 1940, Captain Midnight here on Classic Radio Theater. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around. Don't forget to visit my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me. And don't forget, our shows are available. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can catch them through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have a great day. Tell all your friends that great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.